Another day, another story. The first animal in space was a dog named Laika. Laika was a female stray dog from Moscow, Russia, and she was sent into space by the Soviet Union on November 3, 1957, aboard the spacecraft Sputnik 2. Unfortunately, Laika did not survive the mission, as the technology to safely return animals from space had not yet been developed at the time. Her mission paved the way for human spaceflight but also raised ethical concerns about the treatment of animals in scientific experiments. Welcome to Tavo Eminent Channel. Laika's legacy. In the bustling streets of Moscow, a stray dog named Laika wandered through the city, surviving on scraps and the occasional act of kindness from passers-by. Little did she know that her life was about to change in a way she could never have imagined. It was the height of the Cold War, and the Soviet Union was locked in a race with the United States to conquer the final frontier, space. The Soviets had already achieved a significant milestone with the launch of Sputnik 1, the world's first artificial satellite, but they were determined to do more. Their sights were set on sending a living being into space, and they had selected a dog for the mission. Laika, with her gentle demeanor and resilience, had caught the eye of Soviet scientists. She was chosen as the occupant of the small, cramped capsule known as Sputnik 2. Laika was trained rigorously for her mission, spending hours in a simulation of the capsule and undergoing medical examinations. She had no way of knowing what lay ahead, but she faced it all with a wagging tail and unwavering trust in her human handlers. On the fateful day of the launch, the world held its breath as Sputnik 2 roared into the sky. Laika, snugly strapped into her harness, felt the powerful forces of the rocket as it blasted off the Earth's surface. She looked out of the tiny window and saw the world she knew growing smaller and smaller until it was just a blue and green dot in the vast darkness of space. The mission was not without its challenges. Temperatures in the spacecraft fluctuated wildly, and Laika was subjected to intense G-forces. But despite it all, she remained calm and resilient, a symbol of courage in the face of the unknown. Days turned into weeks as Sputnik 2 orbited the Earth. Laika's heart rate and vital signs were closely monitored, and scientists on the ground received valuable data about the effects of space travel on a living being. As Sputnik 2 re-entered Earth's atmosphere, Laika's capsule burned up, and she became a shooting star, her spirit released into the cosmos. Her sacrifice paved the way for future space exploration, and her name became synonymous with bravery. Back on Earth, people were deeply moved by Laika's story. Her mission sparked conversations about the ethics of using animals in scientific experiments, leading to changes in how animals were treated in research. Laika's legacy was not just in the stars, it was in the hearts and minds of people around the world who were inspired by her courage and sacrifice. In the years that followed, as humans ventured further into space, they never forgot the brave stray dog who had blazed a trail into the unknown. Laika's name became immortalized, a symbol of the indomitable human spirit and the boundless curiosity that drives us to explore the cosmos. And so, in the annals of history, the name Laika would forever shine as a beacon of hope and inspiration, reminding us all that even in the face of the greatest challenges, there is always the possibility of reaching for the stars. The silent hero of the cosmos. In the heart of Moscow, a small, scruffy dog named Laika roamed the streets, scavenging for food and shelter. She was a survivor, used to the hardships of life on the streets. But one day, her life would take an unexpected turn that would catapult her into history. It was the height of the space race, and the Soviet Union was determined to showcase its technological prowess to the world. The mission was audacious, to send a living being into space and bring them safely back to Earth. They needed a candidate who could withstand the harsh conditions of space, and Laika, with her resilient spirit and adaptability, was chosen for the mission. Laika was brought to a top-secret facility where she underwent extensive training. She learned to endure the confinement of a small spacecraft, the sensation of weightlessness, and the strange noises and vibrations of the rocket. Throughout her training, she forged a unique bond with her human handlers, who cared for her and understood the significance of her mission. On the day of the historic launch, Laika was calm and composed as she was placed inside the capsule of Sputnik 2. Strapped into her specially designed harness, she looked out through the porthole at the stars above, oblivious to the fact that she was about to become the first living being to journey into the cosmos. As the rocket thundered into the sky, Laika's heart raced, but she remained remarkably calm. She trusted her handlers and knew they were monitoring her every move from the ground. The mission was a success, and Sputnik 2 entered orbit around the Earth. Days turned into weeks as Laika circled the planet, providing valuable data to scientists on the ground about the effects of space travel. Her heart rate, respiration, and overall condition were closely observed, and the information gathered would prove invaluable for future human spaceflight missions. But as the days passed, it became clear that there was no plan for Laika's return. The world watched in both awe and sorrow as Sputnik 2 re-entered Earth's atmosphere, burning up upon re-entry. Laika, the silent hero of the cosmos, had given her life for the advancement of space exploration. Back on Earth, her story touched the hearts of people around the world. A memorial was erected in her honor, and her sacrifice led to changes in the treatment of animals in scientific experiments. Laika's legacy lived on, inspiring generations of scientists, astronauts, and dreamers to reach for the stars. In the end, Laika, the once unknown street dog, became a symbol of courage, sacrifice, and the unquenchable human thirst for knowledge and discovery. Her journey into the unknown, though tragic, paved the way for future explorations and served as a reminder that even the smallest and most humble among us can play a role in shaping the course of history. Laika's Cosmic Odyssey. In the bustling streets of Moscow, a stray dog named Laika roamed, searching for morsels of food to sustain her. She had never known the comforts of a home, but her life was about to take an extraordinary turn that would make her name known throughout the world. It was the midst of the Cold War, and the Soviet Union was determined to achieve supremacy in space exploration. They had already launched Sputnik 1, the world's first artificial satellite, into orbit, but now they were setting their sights on a more ambitious goal: sending a living being into space. Laika, with her tenacity and resilience, caught the attention of scientists. She was chosen as the occupant of Sputnik 2, a tiny spacecraft with a one-way ticket to the stars. She was trained rigorously to endure the rigors of space travel, and a deep bond formed between her and her human handlers. On the day of the launch, the world watched with bated breath as Sputnik 2 soared into the sky, carrying Laika on a journey that no living creature had ever undertaken. Inside the spacecraft, Laika felt the rumble of the rocket engines and the weightlessness of space. She gazed out of a small porthole, watching the Earth grow smaller and smaller until it was just a pale blue dot in the cosmic void. Laika's mission was to study the effects of space travel on a living being, and she endured the hardships of weightlessness, extreme temperatures, and isolation with remarkable courage. Her vital signs were continuously monitored from Earth, and her journey yielded valuable data that would benefit future space explorations. As Sputnik 2 re-entered Earth's atmosphere, Laika's capsule disintegrated, and she became a shooting star, her spirit soaring through the cosmos. Her sacrifice had pushed the boundaries of human knowledge and marked a pivotal moment in the space race. Back on Earth, people were deeply moved by Laika's story. Her mission raised ethical questions about the treatment of animals in scientific experiments, leading to changes in the way animals were used in research. Laika became a symbol of exploration and sacrifice, and her legacy lived on. In the years that followed, humans ventured deeper into space, always mindful of the courageous stray dog who blazed a trail into the unknown. Laika's name was etched in history, a testament to the unquenchable human spirit and the enduring curiosity that drives us to explore the cosmos. And so, as the stars twinkled overhead, Laika's name continued to shine brightly, a reminder that even in the face of the greatest challenges, there is always the possibility of reaching for the stars and making history in the process. Though far less famous than later non-human astronauts, the first animals in space were a group of fruit flies, launched to an altitude of 42 miles at the tip of a V-2 rocket, developed and used by the Germans during World War II and later by American military scientists on February 20, 1947. The flies, members of the often studied species Drosophila melanogaster, made their journey alongside packets of rye and cotton seeds as part of an experiment to study the effects of cosmic rays on living organisms. The fly's container parachuted to the ground, and the insects were retrieved in perfect health. The first vertebrates sent into space were a series of ill-fated monkeys and mice launched between 1948 and 1951 by American researchers. On June 14, 1949, a rhesus monkey named Albert II blasted to an altitude of 83 miles in a V-2, surviving the flight but dying on impact. A year later, The US launched a mouse and photographed its behavior in a weightless state, although it too was not recovered alive. The Soviet Union had better luck, launching to 62 miles and recovering a pair of dogs, Sigan and Desik, on July 22, 1951. 2 months later, the US launched and retrieved an anesthetized monkey named Yorick along with 11 mice. Alas, poor Yorick died after his capsule overheated in the New Mexico sun while awaiting recovery, though 9 of the mice survived. 9 years later, the Soviet Sputnik 2 probe carried the first animal into orbit, a former strayed dog named Kudryavka, Curly, but later known to the world as Laika, Barker. She died in her orbiting capsule. No provisions had been made to return her to Earth alive, sparking debate in the West over the ethics of sacrificing animals to advance science. In 1960, the Soviet Sputnik 5, carrying 2 dogs as part of its animal-laden cargo, was successfully recovered after orbit. The following year, despite Cold War tensions, Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev gave the puppy of one of Sputnik 5's dogs to young Caroline Kennedy. Pushinka, as she was known, eventually gave birth to 4 puppies of her own, which President John F. Kennedy referred to as the Pupniks. Thanks for watching. Request you to subscribe the channel.